Today is Tuesday the 24th of January. This week in Battle Drill Devotionals, we're focusing on encountering Jesus in the storms of life. Our Bible reading is Matthew chapter 14 and verses 22 to 36. Today we're reading from the New Revised Standard Version, Updated Edition. Jesus walks on the water. Immediately he made the disciples get into a boat and go on ahead to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. And after he had dismissed the crowds, he went up by the mountain by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone, but by this time the boat, battered by the waves, was far from land, for the wind was against them. And early in the morning he came walking toward them on the sea. But when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified, saying, "It's a ghost!" And they cried out in fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them and said, "Take heart, it is I. Do not be afraid." Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat, started walking on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he noticed the strong wind, he became frightened, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me!" Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him, saying to him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" When they got into the boat, the wind ceased, and those in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly you are the Son of God." When they had crossed over, they came to land at Gennesaret. After the people of that place recognized him, they sent word to that whole surrounding region, and people brought all who were sick to him, and begged him that they might touch even the fringe of his cloak. And all who touched it were healed. Amen. Have you ever thought you'd seen a ghost? I'm not sure I have, although I do remember that when we were teenagers at Norwich Citadel Salvation Army, we frightened ourselves silly with ghosts' stories of those that wandered around that old building. Only peer pressure kept us standing firm and not running out of the door. At this moment, there's probably enough going on in your life that you don't need to be frightened by ghosts. But what stops us from running away from the storms of life we find ourselves in? Only Jesus. The disciples were fighting exhaustion. They're trying to keep a low profile following Herod's murder of John the Baptist. They're recovering from the responsibility of trying to feed 5,000 men and their women and children in the remote area on the shore of Galilee to where Jesus had led them. And they'd been fighting the wind and the waves for several hours. Jesus comes to them, but he comes walking on the water. It's unexpected, impossible. No wonder they thought they'd seen a ghost. They were terrified. But Jesus says, "Don't be afraid. I am here." Do you need to hear those words today? Don't be afraid. Jesus is here. He brings unexpected help and encouragement just at the time that you are most desperate. In his presence, fear is gone. Take courage in him today. As you reflect on these thoughts, this question might help you. How would you have reacted to seeing someone walk on the water in the middle of a storm? And I hope to see you again soon for another battle drill.